Hello and welcome to the University of Law. In today's video, I am unboxing and reviewing Doctor Who Fugitive of the Daleks, which I think is my first Doctor review of a Big Finish on the channel, I think. Because it's the first one I bought, I think, since 2021 time, when they did the last early adventure. So, here we go. This particular release came with January's Vortex magazine. Just a couple of days before, in fact, just yesterday from recording, actually, the 7th Doctor Last Day arrived, and that still had the December issue, so it's nice to have this January issue because it goes behind the scenes on all the February releases, so I'm looking forward to reading that through. But it's lovely artwork. These are my favourite Daleks, the 11th Doctor Daleks. They weren't in it enough. I really enjoyed those. Speaking of Daleks then, we have got Daleks here. Let's put that there. The Fugitive of the Daleks. So this is one big 6-part story. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a quick... In fact, no, I'll unbox it and then I'm going to review it. So it's a 3-disc set. It's got painted artwork. I think it's Christopher Naylor, I think, who plays Harry Sullivan, who's done the artwork. I will confirm that, but it's very nice. We've got the Dalek. We've got Vicky, First Doctor, Dodo there. Okay. And we've got a little blurb on the back. Got the First Doctor on the sides, and it's volume 3 of this new line of audios featuring the First Doctor, which has Stephen Noonan playing the part. I'll talk about his portrayal when I get to my review. There we go. Right, let's tear the rest of this cellophane off. Okay, obviously I've listened to it on release day on the app, so I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm reviewing, rather. This is the first time I've opened it. It's straight out of the box. And here it is. Okay. Always the thing now, trying to get the CD out the box, which I will do. And here it is. We've got identical artwork on here. The sleeve again says, actually it doesn't give a volume on either sleeve, actually. Same blurb on the back. Okay, right, for the grand reveal. So we've got episodes 1 and 2 on this disc, written by Jonathan Morris. I wonder if it's got individual episode titles actually in the booklet. Here we are with the original 60s logo. Very nice. I'm assuming you can take this off here and swap it over should you choose, but I tend to keep the current logo. Booklet. We've got a lovely photograph of the cast together. No individual episode titles. Obviously that's how they did it in the 60s. They'd have an individual title for each episode. I have to say, this was very evocative. It felt very much like it came from that era. It felt like I was listening to the soundtrack of a lost story from between the Savages and the War Machines. It really did feel authentic. And then we've got episodes 3 and 4 on disc here, and episodes 5 and 6 on this disc here. And here's the advert for the previous 2 Stephen Noonan box sets, The Outlaws and The Demon Song. Okay, time for the review then. So let's get this back in its box. So I was aware when buying this that it seemed to continue from the previous release, The Demon Song. Now, I hadn't bought the previous 2 volumes, I tend to, more for space than anything on the shelves, I tend to just stick with releases that have original cast members in. And this does, which is why I ordered it. I was a bit worried that I might not understand it, but I picked it up straight away. You don't need to have listened to the previous release, and there's some good flashback material in there to kind of bridge the gap as well. But this is a completely original story. I absolutely loved it, and if you're a fan of the First Doctor, this is a must-have. It's a tribute to the era. Anyone who really loves the era will just get the story. There's going to be spoilers coming up, so if you haven't listened to it and you plan to, leave and then come back. If you're someone who just loves Doctor Who and you like the First Doctor, you're not massively engaged in the era, but you like it, I'd recommend this. This is an excellent piece of Doctor Who. But for someone who's really immersed in the era, like I mentioned before, First Doctor is one of my favourites, and in particular Season 3 is my favourite season of the First Doctor. For many people, it's probably the era they're least familiar with because it's mainly missing. So most people who like the First Doctor tend to think of the early First Doctor. They think of his first season and his second season because they're mainly complete. But for those of us who enjoy Season 3, I think Season 3 is one of those seasons where you either know very little about it or you know everything about it. There's no one who's really in the middle. Whereas with most seasons of Doctor, most people are kind of in that middle where they've seen it and they're engaged with it, but they don't know it inside out. With the Season 3, you either are very unfamiliar with it or you know it inside out. And the reason why is because it's missing. So in order to engage with that, you need to be really immersed in it. So it means that you've watched reconstructions, listened to the audio soundtracks, probably made your own reconstructions at some point, like, you know, I did when I was a kid. I love the official BBC ones as they come out. I replaced them with my own ones, but as a kid I used to make them on the computer. You read the Target books, you really, you know, watch the animations, any scrap you can get, you watch them. You know those missing clips and those telly snaps where they exist. Inside out, you know those soundtracks inside out, you know the scripts inside out. You've searched everywhere, you know, when someone on Twitter's come up with has found some missing footage from the Mythmakers, you know, some stock footage, you're straight in there. When you're doing your reconstruction of Daleks Master Plan, you're really looking at what already exists in Season 2. You're looking, you know, regarding Daleks and the Monk to kind of bring that footage and repurpose that footage. When the Mission to Unknown is remade, you're watching that time and time again on the BBC YouTube channel. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, in particular Season 3 fan, you know it inside out. And this, while anyone will enjoy this, if you are that fan like I am, this will really reward you. The writing will reward you. Johnny Morris did a wonderful job on the script, and I'll talk about that first. In fact, let's talk about that now. There's so much in that, and again, spoilers coming up. I think straight away, the First Doctor wasn't quite himself. His memories have gone. And he doesn't remember anything past the chase. Now, straight away, if you're a fan, I just knew straight away that this was the robot Doctor that the Daleks made from the chase. I just knew. I thought, hang on, if he doesn't remember anything since then, I bet it's that. The whole way it was set up. Then, yeah, the whole way through the script was just perfect. The moment, you know, there were scenes that were like the Feast of Stephen, like these kind of comedy scenes. It felt like Terry Nation, or David Whittaker had written a lot of it. Dennis Spooner, less David Whittaker, more Dennis Spooner and Terry Nation. It really had that lovely feel to it. The dialogue was perfect. The idea of the Doctor being hidden in the Dalek, all these concepts, they were ideas that had either been borrowed from or adapted from the original source material in a way that really just worked. So this was really authentic, a really authentic piece of storytelling for the era. The Daleks are authentic, but it's a twist on it. You know, the whole thing is a twist on what you know. The whole idea of there being something locked away. I first of all thought it was the Doctor, similar to kind of the Monk being locked away in the start of episode 10 of Daleks Master Plan. But then just as about to happen, I thought, hang on, no, it's not going to be the Doctor, it's going to be Dodo. The idea of the Doctor hiding in the Dalek, again, straight away, you kind of knew it was going to be him. It worked out quite well. It was very similar to a recent 8th Doctor story in terms of the Doctor was there the whole time inside the Dalek and you didn't realise it, because that was in a recent Eighth Doctor box set maybe 2 years ago. So that was quite fun, that he's been there the whole time. It was a nice twist on that. It was, something was very similar to, in elements to Celestial Toymaker in terms of the setup at the start with the Doctor disappearing on Dodo, so there's some references to that. Obviously that's coming out on animation very soon, very excited. Three Doctors is referenced. That's where the Doctor was taken to. It's not explicitly said, but anyone who knows the era knows that that's what happened. So now we know exactly when he was taken out of time. That was really fun. We've also got references. Well, not references, but if there was moments where it felt like Planet of the Daleks with the whole telepathic circuits. So that was really fun. The moment, however, that I loved most was the ending. Now, and again, spoilers coming up. I'd heard that the ending was going to make you laugh and cheer, and applause was what they'd said in the behind the scenes preview in the Big Finish podcast. And I'd assumed, because Nick Briggs has said something about he wants the first Doctor to do a round trip of all the companions. So I thought, well, maybe we'll get Ian Chesterton or Susan in the closing moments, and then that's who we're going to revisit in the next box set. And well, I think that maybe that's still the case. Speculation here. Maybe we're going to get a different companion in every set going forward now. It wasn't that at all. It's that it turns out, major twist, for anyone who loves the Hartnell era, you worked it out as it was happening, but only just as it was happening, and it's something that you just didn't see coming, and it was the most original idea ever. To have had Ian or Susan at the end was not an original idea. It's a fan idea like I've got. The original idea that this box set has is that the whole way through, the robot Doctor becomes the abbot of our... I can never pronounce it. The abbot from the Massacre. And I just thought that was a wonderful, wonderful twist. So the whole time that we're watching the Massacre, the abbot, who looks just like the first Doctor, looks like the first Doctor because he is the Daleks robot from the chase who's had his mind wiped. Isn't that fantastic? So that's the first thing that makes this authentic. The second thing that makes this authentic is the music. Nick Briggs, I don't think he did... I'm trying to think who did the music now. I'm not sure. The sound design is excellent. The whole sound design is superb. Whoever did the sound design, it's spot on for the 60s. It feels like listening to a 60s soundtrack. But most importantly, the music cues. You can kind of... I'm not sure whether they've copied music cues from classic stories or whether they've just adapted to sound similar. But all the music cues sound authentic. So the script is authentic, the sound is authentic. Great performance from Vicky here. It's a great story for Vicky, a great final story as well. There's a great moral and a great theme to it. She wants one last adventure, but she realises that actually she's a different person now. That's wonderful. It's a great, solid story for Dodo. I know she's only really in episodes, the last couple of episodes, but still, it's a really strong performance from Lauren Cornelius. Really enjoyed her portrayal. But now I come to the third reason this is authentic, and that is Stephen Noonan's performance as the first Doctor. I can remember when they announced a YouTube trailer. It was like a telesnap reconstruction of the very first... was it Demon Song, the very first one that he did? And I remember, because I've always loved doing a William Hartnell impression myself in my free time. I'm not a professional impersonator. I'm nowhere near as good as Stephen Noonan. However, a lot of people kind of go down the route of kind of doing this generic, doddery old man, or angry, or slightly grumpy old man. But anyone who knows the first Doctor knows that that's really kind of his first 4 episodes, and that's basically it. And he very much becomes quite, I'd say, an impish character, quite mercurial, impish, cheeky character. And I knew immediately watching that trailer that he's not doing a caricature, he's not doing an impression, he's doing a performance, he's giving a performance, and he's essentially, because this isn't an impersonator, he is an actor, Stephen Noonan, and he is giving a performance, but he's giving you a performance that I would say is spot on to William Hartnell. I know there's all these details about the fact that he adds in the fluffs and all sorts, and with his script, but he just plays it exactly how Bill Hartnell would have played it. Obviously, the highest praise here is that Maureen O'Brien, who worked with Bill, says the same. But as someone who's really engrossed in the era myself, and I said it's my favourite season, and I know every detail of season 3 because I'm so immersed in it. You can tell that he is as well. You can tell he's completely immersed in this, and it shows, and it comes across it's the subtleties of the performance. There's sort of noises and coughs and clearing of the throat. There's just little things that he does, and there's even the way you can see his jaw, kind of that lower jaw coming forward, protruding forward. You can just tell that he's just giving that performance, and it's very easy straight away to just get lost in this and just feel like you're listening to William Hartnell. It's a spot-on performance. So yeah, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'm hoping we kind of get his Doctor up against some of the other classic First Doctor companions in some future stories, maybe even a River Song as well at some point. Who knows? But really, absolutely loved this set. I think probably the standout moment for me was the moment where he comes out the Dalek and he does a little chuckle. The First Doctor, really high pitched moment of pure mirth, and it's spot on. It's spot on. It was just like the chuckle at the end of the Tales of the TARDIS. You'd think they'd just gone back into the sound library and got William Hartnell's voice back. It's spot on. But I'm going to go back to the fact that I mentioned earlier that I knew straight away that it was the Robot Doctor. That was meant to be a twist for later. I think because I know the era so well, and kind of the way they were kind of informing you that his memory stopped at the chase, I'd kind of guessed it was the Robot Doctor. But subliminally, I think the reason why I knew it was the Robot Doctor was Stephen Noonan's performance, because he played the character differently. He'd obviously gone back and watched the chase, and whereas normally he's portraying the Doctor as William Hartnell did, at that moment he was portraying the robot the way Hartnell portrayed the robot. He knew the inflections, the speech patterns. He had subtly changed the performance to be exactly how Hartnell changed his performance to play the robot and later the Abbot. It's just spot on. It's a masterclass, and as I say, it's one of those boxes where you will enjoy this if you've never watched season 3 before. You'll enjoy this if you've got a vague notion of who the First Doctor is. It's a solid Doctor Who story. It's got Daleks, so it's a fun journey through time and space. But if you're someone who's immersed in the First Doctor era, and in particular season 3, and I keep saying this, you will absolutely adore this set, because every moment, every second, every decision in this box set is inspired by all the lore and all the little details that you will know from season 3. There's so much love and detail in this. Every layer of this is just immersed in season 3. And if you're immersed in season 3, there's so much in here that you're going to spot and get out of it and notice. Too much to just say in this review, but it's just wonderful. And if you've never seen season 3 before, go out there, immerse yourself in it, and then listen to this. This is a perfect companion to your watch, listen along to what survives of season 3. So yeah, can't speak highly enough of this, and looking forward to the next one. What did you think of the box set? Do let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I look forward to speaking to you soon.